In the modern world, great powers no longer compete only with missiles, fleets, or armies. They compete through supply chains, through the materials that make advanced economies function. Among those materials, one group stands above the rest: the rare earth elements that power smartphones, electric vehicles, wind turbines, satellites, and the guidance systems of precision weapons. And nearly all of them come from a single place. For decades, China built a near monopoly over the mining, refining, and processing of these critical minerals. Now, as tensions escalate between Beijing and the West, that dominance is becoming a strategic instrument capable of reshaping technological competition and military readiness. This leads to a question that is shaping the 21st century. If China restricts access to these materials, how vulnerable is the West? As of 2024 and 2025, the rare earth supply chain is under unprecedented strain. China has imposed export restrictions on key minerals such as gallium, germanium, and graphite. These materials are small by volume but enormous in importance. Without them, chip production slows, electric vehicle manufacturing stalls, and advanced weapon systems face delays. The United States and Europe have responded with billions of dollars in investment aimed at rebuilding mining capacity, refining plants, and strategic stockpiles. Yet these efforts take years, sometimes decades, and China remains far ahead. At the same time, broader geopolitical tensions amplify the stakes, from rivalry in the Indo-Pacific and sanctions battles to competition in artificial intelligence and pressure on semiconductor supply chains. Cutting off even a portion of rare earth exports would ripple across global technology, transportation, and defense industries. But the deepest vulnerability is not in mining. It lies in processing, where China controls the central choke point of the entire system. Rare earths themselves are not actually rare. They exist in many parts of the world, including Australia, the United States, Africa, and Southeast Asia. The challenge is that they are difficult, environmentally costly, and expensive to refine. During the 1980s and 1990s, the United States was the global leader in rare earth production. Over time, environmental regulations and low market prices made domestic operations uncompetitive. China moved in the opposite direction, investing heavily, accepting the environmental cost, and offering prices no rival could match. By the early 2000s, Western companies had shut down refining facilities and shifted their supply chains to China. By the 2010s, China was producing more than 80% of the world's rare earths and refining over 90% of them. A turning point came in 2010 when China restricted rare earth exports to Japan during a territorial dispute in the East China Sea. The message was unmistakable. Rare earths were not just commodities, they were leverage. Since that moment, the world has understood that China controls not only supply, but the ability to weaponize it. China's objective is to maintain dominance over critical minerals, use that leverage in geopolitical negotiations, protect industries that depend on rare earths, and limit Western technological advantages. Its strategy is not secrecy, but scale, integration, and cost control across the entire supply chain. For the United States, the priority is securing supplies for defense and advanced manufacturing, reducing dependence on China, building alternative refining capacity, and strengthening alliances through shared supply chains. Within the U.S. military, rare earth vulnerability is increasingly viewed as a direct national security risk. The European Union faces a parallel challenge. Its green energy transition depends on stable access to rare earths for electric vehicles, renewable energy, and storage systems. Reducing exposure to geopolitical shocks has become a central concern for Europe's industrial future. Australia has positioned itself as a potential alternative supplier, holding some of the world's strongest reserves. Its goal is to expand mining and exports while deepening security ties with partners such as the United States and Japan. Yet large-scale refining capacity remains limited. Several African producers, including Congo, Burundi, and Tanzania, are also emerging as important players. These states seek foreign investment, local industrial development, and greater influence in critical mineral markets. They often find themselves at the center of intense competition among China, the United States, and Europe. Despite this crowded field, only one actor controls the entire chain, from extraction to processing to manufacturing. That asymmetry is why the balance of power remains uneven. Rare earths matter because they sit at the heart of multiple strategic systems. Modern defense capabilities, from missile guidance to fighter aircraft and satellite communications, rely on rare earth magnets and alloys. Semiconductor manufacturing depends on minerals such as gallium and germanium, particularly for advanced chips. Renewable energy infrastructure, including wind turbines, solar technologies, and electric vehicle motors, cannot function at scale without these materials. Artificial intelligence and data centers rely on high-performance computing components built with rare earth inputs. Any disruption slows manufacturing, raises prices, and injects uncertainty into global supply chains. Taken together, rare earths are not merely an economic resource. They are a strategic foundation of the modern world. And timing is critical. Alternative supply chains take years to build, while disruptions can occur overnight. One possible future is continuity. China maintains its dominance, the West achieves limited diversification, and most refining remains concentrated in China. Tensions persist but stop short of full-scale restrictions. Another path is escalation. A diplomatic or military crisis leads Beijing to sharply restrict exports of specific minerals. Western manufacturing slows, prices surge, and stockpiles become a central line of defense. There is also the possibility of de-escalation. Markets stabilize, China expands exports for economic reasons, and Western countries continue investing in long-term diversification without immediate crisis. Finally, there is the wildcard scenario. A technological breakthrough, such as magnet systems that eliminate the need for rare earths, could rapidly upend the current balance. Rare earths illustrate a lesson repeated throughout history. The most decisive resources are often the least visible. They are the materials that underpin a nation's ability to innovate, defend itself, and compete globally. China's dominance is the result of decades of planning, investment, and integration. The West's dependence reflects years of underinvestment and strategic complacency. As great power competition intensifies, rare earths have become a new arena where economic power intersects with military capability and technological ambition. The outcome will not hinge on a single policy or a single crisis. It will be shaped by which nations build resilient supply chains and which remain vulnerable to disruption. Because in the geopolitics of technology, control over materials often becomes control over the future. Thank you for watching the Atlas Report. If you enjoyed this analysis, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss our next documentary. Your support helps us continue exploring global power, strategic geography, and the forces shaping world events. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the next report.